Hello, my name's Jackie McLaughlin. I'm Platinum with Young Living, and I'm here tonight to talk very briefly about energy and frequency and what that has to do with anything. Well, basically, it has to do with everything. Uh, Energy and frequency is what makes up everything in this world, and there are certain frequencies that and energies that are associated with health and wellness, and then there are lower frequencies and energies of frequency that are more associated with not so healthy living. And as far as Young Living goes, we're here to talk about that in relation to the oils and how they can affect our bodies and our emotional states and our health in general, and helping influence that in a positive way, because our bodies are made up of energy. Everything in this physical world is some form of energy. So solid things are just more dense energy, and air is much less dense energy, but it's all energy. There was a scientist, a doctor named Royal Rife, who many years ago found that certain frequencies can actually prevent the development of disease, and other frequencies could destroy different disease. So he worked with that and created instruments for creating frequencies and working with people, and that's just a whole other topic for another day maybe. But why I bring him up, because he found that the study of frequencies could affect health by raising frequencies. The body has its healthy frequency range at anywhere from 62 to 72 megahertz. And that's the physical body in a basically healthy state. And he found that when a person's body frequency dipped below 60, that invited a disease to proliferate, or it made it more vulnerable to diseases. So it's important to keep our body frequencies up at a healthy level. And how can we do that? Well, partly, first and foremost is take care of yourself, eat well, eat healthy organic foods without pesticides and non-genetically modified things. We don't know what the effect of those are. And, eat very healthy and take care of yourself. Get good sleep, get exercise. All these things are important in maintaining a healthy frequency in the body so that the body can do what it's designed to do, which is to keep you healthy. And so there are things that we can do to proliferate that in our own bodies. And good healthy diet, exercise, sleep, those are all, drinking enough good clean water, those are all things that we can do to influence our health in a positive way. Focusing on negative thoughts brings down the body frequency, and we'll get into that in a minute. But so even the thoughts you choose to focus on can affect your frequency, your health, and all of that. So it's important to be, aware of what your thoughts are and what you focus on. And you want to pick positive, uplifting things to focus on so that you can affect your own health in a positive way. And that's something that we can do by choice. Sometimes bad things happen in people's lives and we tend to focus on them. So it's a really good practice to acknowledge the bad things that may be happening and look for solutions and move beyond them, not dwell on them and focus on them and keep running them over and over and over again in your head and in your conversation and in your thoughts, because that lowers your frequency and invites an unhealthy situation to develop. So what he found was that lower frequencies could invite disease, and higher frequencies could destroy disease. So he worked with that, and he was a pioneer in the electrical technology field. And you can find information about him all over the internet. It's Royal Rife, R-I-F-E. And he said every essential oil has a frequency. Well, we know that. He didn't say that. We know everything has frequency, and essential oils have a frequency, and each of our body organs have particular frequencies. So the frequency of an oil will attract a like frequency in the body. So lower frequencies become a sponge for negative energy, and then that frequency stays in the body to maintain the longer lasting effects of the oil. So low frequencies make physical changes in the body. And spiritual frequencies range from 92 to 360 hertz, and bone frequency is 38 to 43, and the neck down frequency is 62 to 68. Another book written by Dr. Robert O. Becker, MD, called The Body Electric, he explains that a person's health can be determined by the frequency of their body. So as you can see, it's important to, pay attention to this kind of stuff. And another doctor and scientist whose research has been buried for some time, that's Royal Rife's. His research has been literally buried, but it's very profound. He even developed a frequency generator in the 1920s, and he treated people very successfully with that. But we'll move on from Royal Rife because that's a very controversial person that we don't want to get into that tonight. So it's wonderful to discover that the essential oil frequencies are very much more they're greater than the frequencies of the herbs and the plants from which they come from for years, because the herbs are dried basically and the oils are much more concentrated, that vital part of the plant, and so their frequencies of the oils are much stronger than the frequency of the herbs. And research has been conducted for years using electrical energy to reverse disease, and scientists in the field of natural healing believe that there has to be a more natural way to increase the body's electrical frequency. And we know from our experience with the oils that we can affect our body and our body frequencies by smelling the oils, putting them on topically, as well as ingesting the ones that are approved for internal use, our vitality oils. But what they've discovered is, as an example, patients were exposed to oils diffused in their rooms, and within seconds to minutes, these patients were more calm, less anxious. And we all know this, have seen it over and over and over again, that just smelling oils and diffusing them can change the people's moods and their anxiety levels and their, worrisomeness. All of that can happen in a matter of minutes. And so being in a hospital creates a lot of stress and anxiety. So that's the kind of thing that can be used to help people calm down and feel a little more comfortable. And these oils act really quickly. There was actually an experiment done, and I drink coffee, but I'm going to share it with you because it's a fascinating study. And they took two healthy young males. One was 26 years old and one was 24 years old. And they measured their frequency. Both of them were at 66 megahertz, which was a good mid-range for a healthy person. And then the first individual just held a cup of coffee without drinking it, and his frequency dropped to 58 megahertz in 3 seconds. And then he put the coffee down and he inhaled an essential oil, and within 21 seconds, his frequency had returned to 66. So that was kind of a cool little experiment. The second individual took a sip of the coffee, and his frequency dropped to 52, and in the same 3 seconds. But however, they didn't give him any essential oils to smell or use during his recovery time, and it took 3 days for his frequency to return to its initial 66 megahertz. So as you can see, the oils have a very profound and quick effect on raising the body frequency. So something to think about, how you can use essential oils to affect your frequency and thereby your energy and your health levels. There was a man who spoke at one of the conventions many years ago. He was a Dr. Carlos Orosco, PhD. And I'm not going to go into all of the stuff he presented because it's very scientific and that's not my field. But I will. Patty put a chat, says, yeah, I guess it's good I put oils in my coffee. Me too. Good point. And I do too. So guess we're raising our frequency. We're keeping it level anyway. So, but this Dr. Orozco, when he was talking at convention, he talked about the relationship between bioenergetics, which is spinning energy, and its effect on the quantum field using essential oils. And he said that this relationship has a profound effect upon the structure and function of living organisms. This allows a process of transformation to restore health by generating and maintaining a state of wellness. He also stated that Young Living essential oils have specific frequencies that increase the natural ability of the human body to repair itself through a biophysical and a biochemical healing process. He says to do so, the frequencies of oils are transferred by spinning energy to the body through a vortex, which is the ultimate expression of the quantum energy field. Harmony is then established and wellness becomes sustainable. And then I also wanted to share with you some more research that I was looking for on the vibrational frequency of essential oils. And a German physicist, Heinrich Kurtz, was a German physicist who experimentally proved the existence of electromagnetic waves, or Hertz. And he says it can be defined as electrical energy transmitted as a series of cycles equal to 1 cycle per second. Everything is alive, connected, and changing, yielding its own life force, or some people call that chi. This flow of energy can be quantified, typically measured in units called hertz, and that's what he was known for, just kind of discovering. But how does this relate to vibrational frequency? Everything in nature vibrates. Vibration can be defined as a periodic motion of the particles of an elastic body or medium in alternately opposite directions from the position of equilibrium, when that equilibrium has been disturbed. So put simply, your body and everything in the environment are made up of trillions of tiny molecules constantly cycling and moving and emitting a vibrational energy. And as the cycle of energy vibrates at a more frequent rate, the vibrational frequency raises. So the frequency of essential oils are measured in megahertz. And this is a cycle at that's much faster than electricity, which is hertz. So this is like 1 million cycles per second. So when somebody says they want to raise their frequency, this simply means they wish to increase their vibrational frequency to such a level that it allows them to reach a state of, some do it for spiritual enlightenment. You can raise your frequency just to become healthier. Diffusing or inhaling an essential oil with a high frequency can help you raise your own vibrational frequency from that standpoint. Rose oil was, for the longest time, the highest known frequency of the oils at 320 megahertz. I've been told, but I haven't seen the official documentation, that Idaho blue spruce is somewhere like 400 or 500. So it's higher than the rose oil. The highest, it's not surprising that with the rose oil in the past, they found that rose oil emanates love, purity, and wholeness in connecting the mind, body, and spirit. So there's no greater power in the universe than love, and the feeling of love is the highest frequency anybody can emit from an emotional standpoint. So remember, when you use essential oils, regardless of their vibrational frequencies, you can use them with an open heart filled with love, and you will manifest or empower those oils to be even more impactful for you. So a man named Bruce Tainio, I think is how it's pronounced, developed equipment to measure the biofrequency of humans and food. And he and Gary Young used this monitor to determine the relationship between frequency and disease. And some of their studies have been printed. This has been a number of years ago. And they found that the healthy human brain resonated from 71 to 90 megahertz, and a healthy human body overall was 62 to 68 megahertz. They also found that when you have cold symptoms, it dropped to 58. When you have flu symptoms, it dropped to 57. When you have a candida infection, it dropped to 55. Epstein-Barr syndrome, 52. Cancer, 42. And death begins when it drops as low as 25. It was interesting that they also measured the frequencies of, foods, as I mentioned. And processed or canned foods had 0 megahertz. So they were basically just empty. Fresh produce, depending on how fresh, was 10 to 15 megahertz. Dried herbs was 12 to 22 megahertz. Fresh herbs was 20 to 27 megahertz. And therapeutic grade essential oils was anywhere from 52 to 320 megahertz. So these results are difficult to always reproduce exactly. So these are ranges because energy is energy, right? It changes all the time. So what they did discover is, some of the lower frequency oils, common sense to me when I look at it in a real simplistic way, if a healthy body, if below 60 megahertz is inviting vulnerability to disease, then my mind wants to say, well, then I don't want to use any oils that the frequency is below 60. But that's not true, because what they discovered was low frequency oils can actually support physical health. And mid frequency oils are, and of course there are overlaps. It's not that only, it's not like we're making very drawing lines here, but it's kind of, it's like some can do all or whatever. But by and large, in general, low frequency oils supported physical, mid frequency oils promoted more emotional, and the really high frequency oils encouraged spiritual growth. So that's why, oils like frankincense, it's one of the higher frequency oils, is good for meditation and prayer. And so a lower frequency oil, as an example, is basil at 52 megahertz. Well, basil is we know that basil is good for us, and it does some really good things. You can't just, you don't want to make that jump or that leap that low frequency is bad, because it just supports different things. So to keep that awareness and openness in your mind as you use your oils. And many of us have biofrequency scanning equipment of different types. There's the Zytoscan, there's the Itovi, and now there's the Vivaline. And all of these work on the same concept, that they're measuring your body frequencies, and then they're introducing the frequencies of different oils or supplements and watching how that affects your body and how it changes things, so that they can come up with a report at the end that tells you, will these products your body seem to respond to them in a positive way. So, you say, well, I think I like that. So we get those products and we use them for a while, and sure enough, it gets our body frequency raised to a certain place so that our body is better able to work the way it was designed to. So, I mentioned at the beginning that this session tonight was not going to be we could talk for weeks about energy and frequency, because it is everything. And I just wanted to invite you to explore and experiment with your oils and see, because again, everybody's different. And that's why when people ask me, well, what's an oil for this or that? I'm not going to try to tell them because I have no idea. I mean, you can look in reference books and get recommendations for certain things, and that's always a smart thing to do. But the bottom line is, and Gary's been saying it as long as I've known him, which is almost 15 years, just use whatever you got, because whatever you have is going to be a positive influence on the body. It may not be the, I'm always telling people there's good, better, best. And, good is just use whatever you have. Better is, maybe try to think it through and figure out what you need and get an oil or a supplement that is going to support whatever it is that your needs are. But best is, experiment and see what works for you, because sometimes, what works for one person who has the same desires to change something completely different will work for the next person that has the exact same desires of change. So it's really important that you, yes, learn about the oils, read the reference books, and do your research. But the bottom line is just get you some oils and use them, because you will see for yourself what we're talking about. And most of you that are listening on this call are probably already aware of that. You've done that, you've seen it in action, and you know what I'm talking about. So if you came to this presentation wanting something, I could talk to you about energy in the body. The chakras are definitely vortexes of energy in the body that were created for a reason, that they help our body function. And yes, there are oils that resonate. Specific oils may resonate with one chakra more than another. So yeah, would I use those oils? You betcha. Harmony is a fabulous oil that's really good. If you just want to keep it really simple, use Harmony on all your chakras. And it's amazing what it can do for you. So experiment with your oils. Make it an effort. If you're on Essential Rewards, which if you're getting the most use out of your wholesale account, you're going to be on Essential Rewards. Make it a goal to get one new oil every month so that you can keep trying new things and different ones, because that's how I learned. I just kept playing with them, and I have quite the library of oils. So, and I dip into it all the time and just have fun with it, and it's amazing what it can do for you. So if you came to this call and you don't have an account with Young Living and you're really curious and want to get one, get back to the person who invited you to this call. And if not, you can contact me at 828-452-2958. And other than that, I want to thank you for coming. Are there any questions, thoughts, anything, enlightenments? Patty, I know you may have something that occurred to you that I forgot to share, because there's so much about energy and frequencies that I could have just skipped right over it. So if you got something I need to add to it, just pipe in the chat box. And other than that, I'll give her a second to see if anybody has anything. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out and spending a few minutes with me tonight. And I hope that you will take it upon yourself to start experimenting with different oils, because it really is fun, and it's amazing what you will have happen and experience, because nobody can tell you anything. Everybody's different. Every energy is different. But I can tell you one thing. Keep your mind on positive thoughts. That raises your frequency and raises your vibration. Always stay positive. No matter what's going on around you, stay positive. And I know that's been tough around here for us for the last almost month with the fires that have been going on all around us in the area. It's been really tough. I know I have to be outside and out and about for me to really stay feeling positive and upbeat all the time. And I've literally been confined to the house for almost for at least 3 weeks. I mean, I've gotten out a couple times to go to the store or go to eat or something, but I haven't been getting my exercise outside, and I could feel it. I had to use a lot of oils during the last 3 weeks to keep myself in a positive state of mind and thankfully we've gotten rain, yes, last night and earlier today, and we're supposed to get more tomorrow, so we're really grateful for that. But thanks for coming tonight, and you guys have a fabulous evening. Get out there and use your oils, and then get on our group if you're in our group, and just share your experiences, how they make you feel. Just, you know, I use this oil and you know what, I was just in a better mood. Be sure to share that with everybody, because sometimes people just need to hear it. Patty added, she couldn't think of anything to add, and she said, yes, it's been rough being confined with the smoke and also the time change, so less light, lots of frequency drain. So yeah, thank goodness for our oils. So thanks for coming, and all I can say is keep it positive and oil up.